Okay, so we got to talk about this. We just came out of Dune 2, and we just walked out of the theater, got in the car, came back, threw on the recorder, because we got to talk about this. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
No, not too bad, all things considered. I mean, I think the movie theater is trying to poison me, but
Yeah, that popcorn just
we'll
flying
get through it.
Flying through you. But okay, so just to break down what we're gonna cover here, because we do got to run through what Dune 2 is. Just for people who are not looking for spoilers, we're gonna spend the first few minutes just giving general thoughts, basic score, just a general score. Then we'll let you guys know when we're gonna get into spoilers, and we'll just talk about the movie for a few minutes, because we do have quite a bit to talk about with this film, just in general, with where it stands in the industry, what's going on with it.
There's a lot going on.
First off, acting. We talked a little bit about this on the car ride over here, but so do you think the acting was better in Dune 2 or in Dune 1?
I think it's good all around. I didn't have a problem with either movie with any characters.
That's a fair point. I do think that there was in the first movie you had the it was really going downhill for the character. The story was taking a downward trajectory as far as the emotional roller coaster was really having the main character get his ass whooped quite a bit in the first movie, and that was really where it took you. It took you through.
You talking about Paul?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, his whole house got taken out. He's got to go live in the desert with his mom.
Exactly.
Sounds pretty gay.
So I think it's kind of it's a different trajectory, obviously. So you're feeling the downward climb the downward spiral with the first movie, and you're feeling an upward climb in the second movie. And what I'm getting to is that when your characters are winning and succeeding, I don't think it takes as much to act cheerful and excited and scream and yell and hoot and holler and be excited about shit as it does to be shit, my dad died. My best friend's in the other room getting stabbed 1,000 times. My entire world is coming collapsing around me. Shit, the things I thought were going to work out are not working out. The emotions are a little bit deeper when you're going through that shit.
Well, yeah. Are you saying this is bad or good acting? I'm not sure where you're going with this.
I'm saying that the acting in the first movie is better than in the second movie. And I'm not trying to say that the second movie doesn't do a good job. I'm looking specifically at David Bautista.
Dave Bautista?
Yeah, I'm looking at his character. I think he did better in the first movie than in the second movie.
Yeah, he didn't really have anything to work with in this one.
Yeah, I mean...
It's mostly just being retarded and yelling.
Yeah, just being everyone's bitch, killing the average grunt every once in a while.
In the interview, he's like, yeah, I'm glad in this movie I'm not just some big dude yelling, and then that's all he does in this movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they cut a bunch of shit, but...
I do think Zendaya Chani she had a bigger role in this one besides just being a cut scene for Paul Atreides in the first movie.
Right.
Where you just cut away and you see her fancy dress all the time.
She's in it for 5 minutes in the first one.
Yeah, but obviously she had a lot bigger role in the second, a significant role in this movie. But Christopher Walken did a better job in this movie than the first one because he was, in this one.
I like how he's in 4 scenes and only talks in 2 of them. He's staring in the distance in the other 2.
But you're drawn to Christopher Walken's screen presence just because it's Christopher Walken.
Yeah, it just seems weird to get him when he's just barely in it too.
Yeah, his part to play seemed really, really small. He's the Emperor, and as someone who didn't read the original Dune books or is not super deep into that lore, the Emperor felt like a character that was kind of meant to be afar. The story is happening on Arrakis, on Dune, on the desert planet with Paul, and then the Emperor is just this entity far away, like what he was in the first movie. That's kind of how I thought it was going to continue to play out as someone who didn't already know the story. Mm-hmm. But if the Emperor wasn't in very specific moments in this story in the second movie, nothing goes the same. Everything completely falls apart narratively if the Emperor is not exactly where he is at certain moments.
Yeah, I don't know. Just thinking they could have done more with him though.
Yeah.
But still.
So I think acting wise, I'm very satisfied with how they did it. I just think that the first movie had a lot more to offer as far as like emotional scenes. I mean, do you see
Right.
that?
Yeah. But what do you think about how it was shot? And
Visually, it's amazing. This is the best visuals I've seen since Oppenheimer, and it's probably even better than Oppenheimer.
yeah, because Oppenheimer only had like a couple shots that were just like, that's awesome.
Right. But I am talking like general
General cinematography
cinematography and
shot.
directing. Like the moments they choose to do a face-up shot, the moment they choose to zoom in on this thing or that thing, or the way they carry their camera during choreographed fight scenes, the way dialogue and like just moments between characters were filmed. It's just better than almost anything that's been out for a while.
Yeah, I mean, and how often do we get like epics like this where it's really grand in scope?
The last one we got was, well, Dune 1,
Right.
but you could make a case for Avatar Way of Water. You can make a case for it. The difference is that the CGI in Avatar Way of Water is so much worse than Dune. Like,
I don't say so much worse. It's still a really good looking movie. Story wise, it's not even close. So it doesn't feel like an epic in that sense. It's still very lower stakes, I would say, in Avatar. Where this one's just.
Let me point to an example. So I keeping Avatar in mind, The Way of Water, not The Last Airbender, Avatar: The Way of Water. Keeping that in mind, think about like the combat on the ships that they had in The Way of Water, like the CGI fire and explosions and gas and the way ships blew up or interacted with their environment. Now look at like Dune. Let's just look at the first Dune so we don't spoil anything for Dune 2 yet. In the first Dune, when you had ships that were exploding or ships that were being swallowed up by the sandworms, or the battle scene when Arrakis is like invaded. Like,
right. I mean,
all of those
it's also
epic
cool. You got that like little. You got the shields, and they basically like hold in the explosion. For
I
a bit.
love
That
the
visual is
shields.
So cool.
The way shields work in this universe is amazing, especially the way they decided to put it on screen.
Right.
Because I'm sure if you like critically read the book, I'm sure there's things that they got wrong as far as like the color, that you like the way it goes blue and red and stuff. I mean, I don't know,
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
but I'm sure there's things that
I just know they used like in the '84 movie, David Lynch movie. They basically just put like rectangles around your arms and like legs, and then it was very blocky.
So I mean, the way that
Granted, that was 40 years ago.
yeah, the way CGI is done in both Dune movies is amazing. And do you get my point where I'm saying it's above Avatar in the sense of like Avatar's very cartoony, and even though it's CGI in a lot of scenes in both Dune movies, it feels very practical effect.
There is one
It's done
scene
really
in
well.
this where I thought the CGI was iffy.
You want to walk me through it? Like, which one are you? Well, I guess, do you want? Is it a spoiler?
It's during like the closer to the end of the movie.
Okay. I want to talk more about that. No,
but otherwise, it just looked phenomenal. And if you can see it in theaters, you got to.
you have to see it in theaters. That is
Because the sound is fucking insane too.
Well, that was actually one of the big benefits of like the first movie. Was the sounds, the score in the first movie was one of its biggest like praises. It was original.
Fuck yeah, just get some chick yelling into a mic. Sounds really good.
No, the score was brilliant in the sequel as well. I do think they lived up to what the first one was. I do think that the Dune 2's score was not as well timed to the things it was representing. So I'm thinking about like there was a trying to think back to the scene that was in here. Basically, it was a conversation, and then they had that woman wailing voice. And it was just really out of place.
Is that after when he's talking to his mom?
I think
after he did the thing.
Yeah, I think it's that scene.
Yeah.
There was moments
It's
where
like it was like in my mind it was like him accepting.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, and then she's just like, oh shit's about to go down now.
In the first movie, I think they share the score. Like the music is the same between both films.
It's basically its theme.
But I mean the I do think it's better placed in the first movie, and I think there were scenes in the second movie where it was just mistimed or just put in a place that I probably wouldn't have put it, as far as just how it sounds and how it sets up the environment, or the fact that there's just no build up to it, and all of a sudden you just hear the wailing. Yeah, exactly. It comes out of nowhere. I mean, that kind of stuff. It's like, I think the first one did better when it comes to the score.
Yeah. The only problem I kind of had is the pacing, where the third act seems rushed. There's a lot of build up, and then it goes by quick after that.
I was actually getting nervous. I was thinking,
because I was like, we've been sitting here for a while. How much time we got left here?
Yeah. Well, I was sitting through like the first act and maybe even part of the second act, and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, I need something to fucking happen.
Right.
Because I think the clock is running out. Like, how much time do we have left of this movie? I'm waiting for something big. I'm like, I thought this was going to be the big conclusion to it all. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, they spend too much time on certain parts.
And I think that...
Kind of. But, I mean, you need the context and the world building of it.
So I don't think we're... Well, I think we can clearly say we're not the only ones to bring up the fact that this movie probably would have benefited from being even a little longer.
Yeah,
and
it would have.
Well, let me ask you,
I would have put it at a solid 3. And just add 15 more minutes to it.
Yeah, I mean, add 15 more minutes. I think you could probably give it another half hour.
Probably could.
Now, here's my question: how do you think normies will enjoy this movie?
Well, it's hard to gauge now because, like, no one really thought Oppenheimer was going to be the success it was because, one, it's a rated R 3-hour biopic. It's like, how well did you think that was going to do with the normies? It ended up making like $950 million.
I didn't know it made that much. I know Barbie broke $1 billion,
yeah,
but
it was almost to $1 billion.
Do you think it would have done better if it wasn't competing against Barbie?
No. I think the meme is what really got people in the theaters.
Okay, Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. This one's tone-wise. I mean, it's not really all peppy, and it's a serious movie. Mm-hmm. It's almost 3 hours. You have to watch the first one.
Yeah, it's required reading. If you don't watch the first movie, hold off on watching the second one until you do. But
I'm surprised the first one only made like $450.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about how popular Dune is because
it was also a 2021.
Yeah.
COVID just like the theaters were just reopening. And shit too.
True. Dune was not gonna. I mean, the first.
And I think it streamed on HBO same day.
Oh, that's right.
I think it did. That's a huge fuck up.
Yep. Well, I mean, I don't know what streaming services and movie studios were trying to accomplish with the hey, let's stream here and put it in theaters. I don't know what you were trying to do.
Right.
Were you trying to get
subscribers, but then also cutting your legs off at the theater is really weird.
Yeah, which is like where it seems to be the case. You're going to make the most hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's like Disney was. They'd put a movie out in theaters and then also put it on Disney Plus, but you had to spend $30
to buy the movie.
No, you had to rent it.
Or rent it for
$30 rent.
Yep,
it's fucking insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was. I mean, not to derail that, right. But that also leads into like the whole Scarlett Johansson stuff with the Disney lawsuit and everything else. But Dune 1 should have done better. I think a big problem with Dune 1, and from a normie's perspective, because I know people who...
It's slow.
Well, I know people who got turned off by the first 30 minutes. Because one of the things you and I were talking about when Dune 1 comes out is you really it's not holding your hand. And it is complicated. Like the intergalactic geopolitics of the Atreides versus the Harkonnens versus
the Game of Thrones of it.
Yeah. But also, at the same time, you're trying to figure out all of this stuff going on. You have this random
fucking
folk
sand
music.
planets with big ass worms, and then you got this spice that's like in the sand, and it.
The way I described it to my brother, because he was asking me about this. He's like, I couldn't make it. I sat down to watch Dune 1. I couldn't make it through. I just didn't understand what was going on. There was too much going on, and I just said, "There's a little bit of space magic, but at the same time, it's Paul is the main character." His family is given dominion over the desert planet, so they move there, and they start harvesting sand. And this sand makes ships fly. At the same time, the people who used to own the desert planet are pissed and want to take it back. And they do. The end.
They go
That's
to
the
harvest the most important thing in the universe
Yep.
to allow space travel.
I-
Billions, trillions of dollars.
We need all
and
the.
then there are some sand people that attack once in a while.
They're called Tuscan
Not only
Raiders.
the men,
You
but
racist.
the women, and
You
the
ra-
children.
Uh,
People are. I heard someone compare Paul's like kind of arc in this akin to Anakin.
I feel that. I mean, do you? I mean, I don't know what your position is on that opinion, but I mean, I could see it.
Yeah.
He grows into this character that's. Well, that I mean, we
Yeah, it's a little
can't
bit spoiled.
spoil. Yeah,
All
we
right,
can't
should we
spoil.
just go? It's like, all right.
Well, let's
sounds
score it.
good, acting good,
Acting
looked
good,
amazing.
looked visually the best movie I have seen in a long
Sound
time,
was
at least
good.
since Dune 1.
Right, pacing was got a little messy towards the end. There were some editing choices too, where he started to head south. I was like, what? We're just jumping through this really quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all good. I prefer it over the first one mostly because there's a bit more action and
Yep.
you're learning about the Fremen and shit more.
Yep, and I think that the things that you learn in the first movie make it so that the second movie's not as complicated.
And
The second movie is not. The second movie is much simpler than the first one. 'Cause
I
you
would
already,
say so. You're just
you should already
fighting the
understand.
patriarchy.
Yeah, you should already understand everything that's going on.
Right.
By the time you're watching the second movie.
And then seeing more of the Harkonnens and their home planet, that's visually the best part.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that quite a bit.
Right.
There's
a little bit of it in the trailer, but
before we go into spoilers, how would you score this?
oh,
No, but before you give your score, let's talk IMDb scoring real quick.
oh yeah.
IMDb has Dune 1 at an 8 out of 10, okay? And it has Dune 2 at a 9 out of 10. Now, at the time we're recording this, it's just opening day. So there's still going to be more reviews. There's going to be more things coming out. Audience scores are going to get calculated the more after this weekend. We'll probably have a better idea of where it's at. As of today, it's just opening weekend. But at a start of a 9 out of 10, whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
I mean, that puts it up there with, like, big heavy hitters. That puts it up there with heavy hitters. But I mean, okay, so knowing
I'd say because after watching this movie, I really can't wait for this to come out and watch 1 and 2 back to back.
yeah,
Just spend 5.5 hours or 5 hours just watching it.
I'm gonna have to
straight through.
upgrade my sound system just to hear that lady sing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and thank God that he doesn't fuck up sound mixing like Christopher Nolan does.
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve does really good sound mixing.
Mhm.
Or has a better sound mixer. Because in Christopher Nolan's movies, you got like really loud action, and then you can't hear a thing when people are talking.
Yeah, dialogue in this movie was super easy to understand. Like I mean, you're correct. That's actually a really good point. And I don't think it's unique to Christopher Nolan. A lot of sound editors do a really bad job of making it so like you hear loud action scenes, quiet dialogue, and you can't hear a fucking thing they're saying.
Right, and I think it's got a lot to do. Chris Nolan films everything in IMAX, pretty much.
Yeah,
it's all IMAX film.
Mm-hmm.
Where Denis, I don't think he does it. But all right, so
Score.
I think I'm gonna agree with IMDb on this. 8 for one, and then 9 on this one.
Okay.
I was teetering just putting an 8 on this, but I don't know. It's pretty good.
So 8 for 1, 9 for 2, and a strong theater recommend.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
go out and see this one.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, if no one goes out and sees this movie, then this like big genre kind of thing dies.
Exactly. Well, and we're looking forward to the there will be a part 3. So there is that's
Yeah.
there is a continuation. This is going to keep going, but
and
I think
there's a Benny Gesserit show coming out to Max as well.
ooh, I don't know what I think about that. I'm curious, but
I wonder if they're just like gonna do the history of it.
yeah.
It's kind of like them setting up plans for fucking centuries.
Oh, it could be cool. I'm not like shut off from it. It's just I don't know what that's going to look like. It'll be
and
interesting.
Anya Taylor-Joy is in this movie for a minute and a half, I think.
Which one is that?
The flash forward with his sister.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay,
So I mean, you get a big actress like that to play a sister, and only in there for. So yeah, they're planning a third one.
I'm excited for it. Okay, so I'll give my score now before we get into spoilers. So I want to clarify that I did really enjoy this movie. I really liked it. I don't put it up there with like my big 10. So I think I have to. I think what I would do is I would invert the scores. I would say 9 for 1 because I did like 1 more than 2, and then I would say 8 for 2. And this is a movie. This is a must see. I do think this is the best film I've seen. I enjoyed it more than Oppenheimer. I can't recall how I scored Oppenheimer. Probably pretty high.
Probably.
But this is a more fun movie. There is really good action in it. There's a good romance between Zendaya's character and Timothy Chalamet's character, Paul and Shawnee.
Yeah, and then you got Javier Bardem playing a little comic relief when you need it.
Yeah, there was some really good. There was a couple of really good laughs in this.
Chuckles, yeah, throughout the theater.
Yeah. Then I mean a movie like this sometimes needs a little bit of that to break up the tension and make it not feel fake.
A little bit,
which I think they got the perfect amount. Chef's kiss.
Yeah,
Mwah.
this is more up my alley where it's a movie that's serious and actually treats the audience like adults, where you don't need everything explained to you 24/7, like a show that just came out that I'm not too happy with.
Oh yeah. You're not alone. There are some mixed opinions on Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's
it's kind of up and down. I see like every time I open Google, it's got like a list of like top stories and shit that you might be interested in. It's like Avatar sucks. Avatar's not that bad. Here's what they did good. It's like
Okay, so we gave our scores. The Cody gives it a 9. I'm giving it an 8. We are going to move into
it's a teetering 9.
Well, it's a teetering 9.
It's a teetering
down, teetering 9.
Yeah, it's like
8.59-ish.
It's in that range.
Somewhere in there. Okay, and so yeah, strongly recommend seeing it in theaters. But Dune 1 is be aware before you spend the money. Dune 1 is required reading. It'll be almost impossible to watch this movie without having seen Dune 1 and get an enjoyable experience out of it. There's plenty of action. There's still a good love story, but
I'm wondering, it's like a normie audience, like.
Well, when he uses the voice, if you don't
know about that, then you're confused. Yeah.
Yeah, there's things in this movie: the voice, the worms, the names of things. The significance of the knives.
Yeah, you don't know why spice is significant, or when they are or not using shields.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So Dune 1 is required reading. Be aware before you spend the money on Dune 2. But if you're gonna,
yeah, because it's meant to be watched. Like Dune Part 2 is meant to be watched like pretty much right after you finish the first one.
Yeah.
It picks up 5 minutes after the first one ends.
And I will say that for people who are concerned about movies with long watch times, because you're like, can I stay invested in this film for this long? Yeah, that's an easy one for this one. This movie will hold your attention.
Or, grow up and don't have a attention span of a TikToker.
Sure. TikTok brain. Yeah. But it will. I mean, this movie does hold your attention, and the longer it's got you, the more locked in you get. Like, bathroom breaks become undesirable.
Yeah, I had to go twice during this one.
It's a long movie. All right. Thank you guys so much. We are going to move into spoilers, so you have been warned. It is time to start talking about like how this movie breaks down. So, at the start of how did you like where it kicked off? How it started? Like, I
like that it took place right afterwards, because like a lot of people bitched that how abruptly the first one ended.
Yeah,
which I thought it was fine. I mean, we know exactly where he's going to do, what he's going to do afterwards.
Like, how much farther would a person who's complaining really have wanted the story to go?
Where would you have cut it off? Like, right after the Harkonnens attack?
And how long do you want to drag that out? It's like, how long do you want to drag out the ending? No, I think Dune 1 was perfectly ended.
Because you got main characters are on top, get attacked, now they're at their lowest, and now we're starting the second movie with the rise back up to the top.
I really lost track of the timing between the start of Dune 2 and like when Chani and Paul start falling in love and start sleeping in the same. I really lost track of time.
This amount of time, they were hinting at how long it was taking based on his mother's pregnancy.
Oh.
So it's roughly about 6 months it takes place.
Okay.
In the book, it's 3 years.
That's a long pregnancy.
He's hanging out. No.
That's a long.
She has the kid and shit.
That's a long-ass pregnancy.
No, it's he's with the Fremen for a lot longer in the book.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, they cut it down to like 6 months. I don't know why they just didn't do the 3 year.
Well, they probably wanted to.
I mean, you could still
I
do
don't know,
because
that's
they
a
were
good
still
question.
like time skipping to where it's like, all right, now he's.
Well, and having a little 3-year-old running around on the screen would have been kind of interesting too.
Well, it should have been like 2 and a little bit, but
You know, you catch my meaning though. Like,
yeah, I mean, you didn't even have to have it in the like. It could have just been in the background, like
Yeah.
because she would have had. Yeah, I mean, it would have just been a little
toddler running about.
bit of it because
Yeah.
his mom's not in it that much.
No, she's really not. I don't like the mom as a character. I mean, okay.
Very manipulative.
Well, she's insanely manipulative, and I don't
she
like
wants
the
her boy to be the
god of
he's
space.
Sadarak or whatever.
Space
They
Jesus.
have like 4 fucking names for Paul in this.
Yeah, they keep giving him names and shit.
Keep giving. He's got so many names and shit.
I liked what they were doing. Like, if I was watching this movie and I had no sense of how long it was going to take, like, so I went. This is the first movie we've seen since the Marvels.
Fuck. Is it?
I think so. For me, I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure I am. Yeah, this is the first movie we've seen since the Marvels.
Napoleon. Was that after?
Napoleon was before.
Napoleon
like,
was
right
Thanksgiving.
before. Napoleon wasn't it either right before or right after? Anyway,
Anyway.
the point is that I'm used to movies that are about 2 hours long, and some of the better movies are like 2.5, maybe 3 hours for the best movies. But I was as this movie started, and I started to realize how slow the pacing was in Act 1. I started to get nervous. I was like, we are not covering enough to make this time investment worth it in this movie.
Right.
I need to see some shit.
People are saying this is like a huge fucking war movie, so I was expecting like battles the entire time.
I was too.
But I was like understanding it's like, all right,
you
don't wanna like overexert the audience, just constant.
And the little
action.
hit and run skirmishes that they did were actually really well done.
Yeah, they were.
And that like leads into what I was saying earlier with like the CGI in this movie is actually much better than a lot of movies that use heavy CGI because the
it's
ship
pretty fucking
explosions, the way they're firing lasers at shit.
I like the magnitude of everything too. It makes everyone just feel so small.
Yeah. And honestly, like the one thing that's really throwing me off with this entire story is how the hell he's gonna get an ocean in the middle of the desert. I don't get it. Like, I don't know how that's supposed to work.
I think it happens.
Is it a different planet?
I think it happens during the God Emperor's reign. I don't think Paul's the one to do it.
Right. I got nothing.
But I think, well, spoilers for past the Dune Part 2.
Spoilers for spoilers' sake.
They go around and just basically take over the entire universe with the Fremen. So he's like leading them to paradise. Is like give them a pick of a planet almost.
Yeah, just pick any planet you want. Well, it is insane. I mean, like, I mean, we've seen some of the you get some glimpses of what the fight scenes will look like in the first movie.
Yeah.
And
there's not a lot of one-on-one fights in the first. There's like you get the training.
Yep.
You get Gurney kind of fights when the attack happens. Duncan's facing a bunch of people, and then the one at the end, I think.
Yeah, I think those are pretty much it in the first one. You look at really like. First up, okay, here's a question for you. Which big battle did you like more? Did you like the big battle in Dune 1 or did you like the big battle in Dune 2 more?
Dune 1 was so quick that, I guess it was quick in this one too. But this one seemed like way bigger scale.
It's bigger.
It's pulled back. You can see a lot more of what's going on. In the first movie, it was basically like quick blow up a bunch of ships, start a cargo in, take out everyone else in the castle, and then you get like a quick glimpse of Atreides fighting Harkonnens for like 2 seconds.
I liked the first one, the first big battle in Dune 1 more than the second one. And that's not.
I think the second one was so much more epic.
It was definitely bigger, but it was also much shorter. Like
I don't think it was much shorter.
Well, think about like
the same.
You had you had what was going on in the. I'm talking Dune 1. You had what was going on in the palace with Paul's dad being betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the Harkonnens like start to invade and start to bombard the planet. Then you have them dropping missiles into the fucking ships through their shields. Then you had the fights on the air, on the airstrip. Then you had air combat between the drone ships that were getting knocked down.
Yeah, but everything you
Then you had the
like
march into the palace. It wasn't.
scenes.
What's that?
Everything you just said though is like 2-minute scenes, and that's like a grand total of 10 minutes.
Well, they're short, but I mean, like the scenes in Dune 2 are not that much longer. Like
Right? Yeah. No, I'm just talking about like it was more epic and.
Well, the only scenes in the second one that really stand out to me are when the sandworms ride in, which we've complained is insanely short.
Yeah.
Then the only other scene I'm really thinking of is Zendaya's fight, which was also like
That was quick too.
30 seconds. That was like a minute at most.
Yeah, it basically battle begins. Cut to Emperor and Baron.
Yeah, but
then knocking at the door. I was like, that was
But in my mind, you have Duncan and you have Grady and you have the Harkonnens fighting the Atreides
I want
in
more
the palace.
Sardaukar in this one.
What's that?
I want more Sardaukar in this one.
Yeah, that would
They
be
have
cool.
one of the best like introduction scenes in the first one, where it's just basically a fucking Mongolian throat singer. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, all right, these guys are scary motherfuckers.
These guys go hard in the paint. These guys go for dunks. No, I mean, I think both battles were
And then,
amazing.
yeah, in the second one, you just see them start running away. I'm like, would they do that? Because they're like the biggest badasses in the galaxy.
Yeah, and they're just they
just
lose.
like, run away!
Run away from the giant space worms.
I mean, what are you gonna do against them?
Well, it feels weird to me that the in the Dune story, like in the long running narrative, it feels weird to me that the Fremen could win battles on other planets because their fighting style
True.
is so native.
It's very desert.
Yeah, it's very specific to their they camouflage in the desert. They hide under the sand. They ride space worms as their like tanks and artillery to destroy shit. They have almost no air power.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like my only way to kind of reconcile that is like the Atreides planet still exists, and is Paul's like home world conquered too?
I don't know.
If it's not, then you might make.
I just know
case
cliff notes of what happens throughout the story.
Yeah. If it's not, you would have still probably a standing military force from Planet Atreides that would be worth having, but otherwise, I got nothing.
I'd say my favorite part of the movie is the Harkonnen planet. Everything that happens there.
Oh, so beautiful.
It
was so good looking. It looked great.
Austin Butler plays a scary ass sociopath, and he's actually intimidating.
Yeah.
And it fucking looks so good. It's just black and white, but it's like super crisp and like ink blot. Like their fireworks are just like ink blots. I fucking love it.
Their fireworks are so freaking cool. I mean, honestly,
I was like, why are they so fucking white? And it's like it is because of the black sun. Because when the Baron's being like rolled out or whatever, he just looks like normal Stellan Skarsgård, and then it just makes everyone white as fuck.
Yeah, it's the black and white, the way the planet has a bunch of noir to it, and the way the fireworks are like computer wallpaper beautiful. They're like the thing you just have on your computer screen.
I'm putting the Harkonnen planet as all my wallpapers.
No, I agree with you. Actually, I was getting very I
wanted more of his name's Fade.
Yeah, Fade Ratha
in this one. I want more of him.
He's dead.
Well, he's dead now. I said I wanted more.
Well,
because he doesn't.
He's got a baby.
He attacks.
He's gonna have a kid. He's gonna have a psycho kid.
That's true.
Little second cousin for Paul.
Yeah, I think it's fucked up.
I think that we'll have to explore that.
He conquers the North. I mean, so he does something that makes him a very intimidating.
Jon Snow.
Well, it's the north side of the planet. No one believes anyone can live on the south side for some fucking reason.
Yeah, it's like not even the hottest part of the planet.
It's like, do you not have like satellites or anything, or could you not just like, because there's like a barrier on the equator of storms and shit. It's like, okay,
what about down there?
You are spacefaring people. Just go like this. Just make a big U.
Yeah, just send a shuttle around. But another thing that was actually kind of interesting is that they never explained how Fade Ratha's character found the Fremen settlements.
Right.
He just kind of showed up, and he was meant to be like, he's
did-
so psychopathic that
maybe
he's really
he's so
smart.
psychopathic. Well, they said he's got like a genius IQ and he's a fucking sociopath.
Okay.
So they did explain that. But my thing is, like, did he just go from like big ass rock to big ass rock, blowing them all up? We're just gonna melt all these big ass rocks.
I was actually wondering why like the atomics weren't getting used. Like I was like, where are the atomics being used? And then the first one he drops is on the fucking like mountain.
Yeah.
He shoots a mountain so that worms can go through the mountain, which is not how that fucking works. Like you don't, like even if you hit the fucking rock, like the everything under it like is still rock. Like the sandworms just don't.
They just do a quick skid across it? I don't know.
It's so weird. I don't know. It's not the end of the world, but
It's 10,000 years in the future, atomic bombs, all right? You
Yeah.
figure it out.
turns them all to sand.
You can really tell this book was written in the 60s. They're still worried about atomic bombs.
Oh yeah, they all have atomics. Yep.
Yep. 92. Big ass atomic bombs.
But
One for each
where
of my
was I going
friends.
with the Fade Rotha thing? Oh yeah. The villain vibes. Can you guess what villain he reminded me of as he's being introduced through the movie? First 10 minutes with him. Who do you think I was thinking of as far as like a villain comparison?
Maybe the Joker?
I was thinking Voss from like Far Cry 3.
Oh, yeah, but he's way too I mean,
I'm not saying they're the same character. I'm just
Right.
saying that's the vibes I was getting. And you know, if I'm feeling that way about a villain, I'm locked in. Like I'm honed in because Voss is one of my favorite villains. Maybe just my favorite villain. But that was just kind of an interesting
his
thought I had.
introduction's just fucking insane.
Yeah.
I like this shot where he's first entering the arena, the door opens, and it's just on him. And he's got like the scowl and shit.
Yeah.
So badass.
I couldn't tell if he was actually pissed or just like, what was that about? When his uncle's like, nah, for real, he's gonna try to kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that introduction was kind of interesting. I mean, in the sense of like the combat introduction when he's fighting.
So you get the sense, basically just flat out says that he wants the fight as the guards or whatever are trying to poison that last guy.
Yeah,
Just tell him to fuck off. And then, I don't know if he was actually mad at Uncle Baron.
yep.
But
What?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't think they kept that character consistent in this movie though, because they were like this character, like he's a psychopath. He can be manipulated, but he's driven by like a strong sense of honor or something to that effect. And then he just throws a bunch of missiles at like
was it honor or no, it wasn't loyalty. You might have been right.
I think it was honor. Like he was, because I mean he was like, you fought well. Like I mean he was saying shit. Like, he was saying shit in this movie that was like he's driven by a strong sense of honor, and then he's killing the Fremen
Maybe he doesn't
by bombarding their fucking
Maybe
children
he doesn't
and women.
consider the Fremen worthy.
Well, maybe they're not worthy.
You're not worthy.
I loved when Paul entered the throne room. Best part of the whole movie.
Oh yeah, just walks up like a boss. And
Cold
everyone
as hell, just cold. Goes up, kills the Baron. Stares down the Emperor. Like, has like an army of Fremen in the fucking
tells
throne
him,
rooms. Like,
take the Emperor, kill the Sardaukar, and then fucks off again.
yeah. I'm just like, he's standing like 1 foot in front of like these swords. At any given moment, they could just be like, poke. But he's cold as ice. It's such a cool scene.
Yeah.
It is such a cool scene.
Well, he's basically all knowing now.
Honestly, yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. I
like how they're playing with the morality of his side, pretty much, because the Bene Gesserit have been playing the Fremen for like centuries or whatever, convincing them of it's like a self-made prophecy. They just like, here's a prophecy, this is gonna happen, and then they were breeding the Atreides and other houses apparently too.
Yep.
To give birth to.
Give birth. Do it.
Do it.
Have 900 babies.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, the Bene Gesserit are kind of.
I don't know if like.
I don't know. They're like morally. I want to say like. That. It's just not. They don't have morals. They're just like thinking of. The Emperor said, ruling with his heart or whatever, or thinking with
Yep.
his heart, and that's why he had to kill Duke Atreides. He's like, you're not using your head.
Yeah. It's weird that at the very end of the movie, the
So
other
he's
like
fuck feelings. We're planning.
it's weird that all the houses like didn't accept Paul's like ascension. I'm like, well, he's kind of got the emperor, and he's kind of getting
marrying his daughter.
like consensually too. By the way.
Oh yeah,
Total consent.
Well, yeah, now it is because he spared him.
Yeah. It's like that's how you get a date. It's like go.
If you don't date me, I'm gonna kill your dad.
And also, he's got to kiss my
Your
ring.
move, bitch.
Balls in your court. By the way, you're paying for dinner. Oh, that's funny. But it is weird that they didn't. Like, they were just like, nah, fuck that. We like this guy who killed your entire family and blew all your shit up.
Right.
We
Maybe
like
they
him
want
a
the
lot
throne
more.
for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to. I'm excited to know more. I'm not going to read the books because they'll spoil the movies.
Right.
So I'm not really.
So would the next one just be all out war?
God, I hope so. I mean, I think they're really playing on the love interest between Johnny and Paul. Which,
yeah, they ended the movie with her fucking off, and then there was just like a 30-second just stare down with her in the camera.
I'll take it.
So is it like,
yeah.
is she gonna fucking all of a sudden put up a resistance?
If that's what happens, I'll be really turned off because that doesn't feel like what. Like again, I didn't read the books, but I don't think that's it. I mean, my understanding is that she becomes like his concubine,
Right.
And like they still love each other. Like she's his number one gal,
Number one, yeah.
but she's also his side piece because he has to be married.
Right.
And that's my understanding of it. So if they are just like, no, she's a girl boss who don't need no man, she's gonna be resistant.
Yeah, it's gonna be a huge turnoff.
I'm gonna be hugely disappointed and actually probably pretty pissed. I don't know if something like that would distract from things, and we're talking just hypothetical right now.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking that probably will settle down because I mean, Paul is not that invested in the Emperor's like daughter. It's really just a marriage of like convenience kind of thing.
And she's also Benny.
Yeah. So I like the way he commands women now. He's just like, you speak when you're spoken to. Or what was it? Just like silence. Or
Oh, to the Reverend Mother. The
yeah,
old
yeah.
bitch.
Honestly,
He's not a fan of like it's kind of underplayed in the first movie, but you know when he's getting tested with the hand in the box.
Yeah.
It's kind of just passed over, but in the books, he really fucking hates that old lady.
oh, dude, I
started reading the first one, and I'm just like just past that part or whatever.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna be doing more audiobooks this summer. I'm gonna have to check those out, see what's different. I'm excited for it because this is a story I'm genuinely loving. You know, I need to explore this, but I've come across like so much talking about how like Tolkien like absolutely hated Dune. Like Tolkien absolutely hated the sci-fi fantasy genre.
Oh, did he?
I guess. I still have to dig into it, but I mean, I've seen at least 4 videos talking about it. So I guess it's like a known thing.
I prefer sci-fi over fantasy, but we have so much, like, in media, there's so much better fantasy than there is sci-fi, in my opinion.
That's fair.
But I'm more of a fan of sci-fi.
Yeah, I totally get that. I think you got any additional thoughts on this movie? I think we've kind of talked through most of my big things. Like, the visuals are awesome.
Yeah, it's just like you spend a lot of time with him becoming Fremen, and then it just seems to, like, skip his accepting his Messiah role. It just goes really fucking fast.
Yeah, the once he drinks the water of life, it's kind of like, okay, we're in the end game now.
It's like boom, 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 boom. It happens really fucking quick.
Yeah, well, he knows his path now because he can see the future.
Right.
Which is fudged.
It's fudged.
What a busted fucking ability.
Yeah, because
the ability to just see
like,
all the futures.
And then he like goes into that room. He's like, I am your god now. Basically, he's going to tell you everything that's ever happened to you.
Yeah. You remember when your grandma died?
Yeah.
I do remember when Gran died. You were sad about it, weren't you? I was so fucking sad.
Oh my god, Jesus.
I became Space Sand Jesus.
He
Or
dies
just-
and comes back to life. There's a lot of Jesus stuff in this.
Oh my God! Yeah, he did die and come back to life. That's crazy.
Hmm.
All right, we're probably gonna wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of We Gotta Talk About This. Dune 2 has been one we've been looking forward to for a while, so I'm really glad we were able to do this.
Yeah, now we have nothing to look forward to.
Deadpool 3 could be good.
Are you looking forward to it?
No,
I'm just like, it's there.
it's there.
We'll probably watch it.
I don't even like the next big blockbuster that's gonna come out is gonna be Kong Godzilla or Godzilla and Kong,
No.
and that looks horrible.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be the same dumps as the last three, but...
It's gonna be so stupid. I'm not at all excited about that. No, there's nothing on the docket for this year. There's not even any good horror movies to look forward to.
No, Omen.
The Omen could be good, but
I
the
mean-
last Omens all sucked.
Yeah, and this trailer didn't really tell you anything about it, too.
Yeah,
It just had a good song, and it was playing in reverse, so it was weird.
it was really it was a weird trailer. It was the first trailer I've ever
What
seen.
about
in
Kevin
backwards.
Costner's Western? I might
didn't-
not see it in theaters, but I'll still check it out at some point.
I think Kevin Costner is very talented. Makes great stuff. And I think he's a great producer, director, all that great shit. I think I could get excited about that. It looks like. So I watched 1883, which seems to me to be
Didn't
the exact
finish it.
same story. What's
I
that?
I didn't finish that one. It took him 6 episodes to get over a fucking river, so...
It did take it. It was way too. Honestly, I really liked it, but I was so let down by the end. I hated the ending. Of 1883.
That's the only one I've watched. I haven't seen 1920 or
There is.
Yellowstone.
Well, I mean, anything that's like big or being promoted is like a 2025 project. So, like the movies coming out for 2024, I can't even tell you any movies that are coming out in 2024 except Deadpool and Kong and Godzilla and Kong, and neither of them I'm super excited about. If
It's just TV shows, really.
I'm
Arcane 2's coming out.
Arcane 2 will be great. House of
Shogun,
the Dragon.
Shogun just drops.
I get to rewatch like
House
Has Been
of the
Hotel.
Dragon. House of the Dragon's the one thing I'm really fucking looking forward
That'll
to.
be
now. That's
great.
like, yeah.
That's going to be the top thing this year, I bet.
And
All
we're
right.
going to review every episode.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love you guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Share the video around, and don't forget to smash the like button, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Bye.